Good afternoon. My name is John Herman. I serve as the interim director of music here. And on behalf of the clergy and staff, a warm welcome to you to Grace and St. Stephen's Episcopal Church. Today's concert is presented as part of the Taylor Memorial Concert Series in remembrance of the many gifts that Miss Alice Bemis Taylor has left to our church that led to this incredible legacy of concerts of international acclaim. If you feel moved to make a donation to support the ongoing efforts of the music ministry at Grace and St. Stephen's, there are marked giving baskets by each entrance. And know that your donations are greatly appreciated and will further support musical excellence in the city of Colorado Springs. If you'd like to learn more about the church itself and this magnificent building that we worship in, one of our docents will be offering a guided tour directly following the concert. And I think they're going to sort of meet just right up in front over here in front of those front pews if you're interested in going on a tour. And today you'll be hearing some marvelous music on our organ, so please be sure that your electronic devices are silenced so you and those around you may be fully immersed in that music. And I'm always very excited to welcome a wide array of organists into our community, and without fail, they all make a point to mention how special it is to get to play this organ in particular. Our historical organ was built in 1928 by the Welty Organ Company of New York, and nearly the same specifications from that organ remain intact from that original project. Internationally recognized for its American Romantic style and countless stunning orchestral colors, our organ was selected for recognition as an instrument of exceptional historic merit by the Organ Historical Society nearly 30 years ago, and we take great pride in its maintenance and importance to the world of organ music. The organ has 4 manuals, the solo, swell, grate, and choir, constituting 55 stops and 3,994 pipes hiding behind all these beautiful facades. So these pipes that you actually are looking at up here and the 2 behind me back there, they're not actually the ones that you're hearing when the music is being played from the organ. All of those are hiding up in the ceiling and the walls and stowed away back there. You can crawl through there and really feel like a little mouse up and down ladders and through very narrow passageways up there. In 2020, an incredibly generous gift from a parishioner made possible the installation of the antiphonal organ that you can see in the back, encased in white oak. And that was built to complement this original organ in home's more wonderful orchestral sounds, to include our famously powerful harmonic tuba. And if you'd like to view the full stock list of our organ, you can find that on our website at gssepiscopal.org/Taylor Concerts. Today I have the honor of introducing you to our recitalist, Dr. David Pickering. Dr. Pickering is professor of both organ and music theory at Kansas State University, where he also serves as associate director for music and chair of the keyboard division. In addition to his illustrious teaching career, Dr. Pickering is also a prominent scholar of the instrument whose scholarly works are published in the Organ Historical Society Press, with additional articles published in The American Organist and The Diapason. Dr. Pickering's books explore a wide variety of subjects, from a biography about Syracuse University professor Arthur Poyster, whom he cites as the most famous organ teacher in the United States in the 20th century, to a historical narrative about the Aeolian Skinner Auditorium organ in the Community of Christ Auditorium in Independence, Missouri. Dr. Pickering has also published an extensive collection of resources detailing his thoughts on registration and hymn playing in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, free to aspiring and practicing organists all over the world. Dr. Pickering holds degrees from the University of Kansas and Brigham Young University in organ performance and musicology. He's also pursued technical studies with pianist Sheila Page. His organ teachers include Parley Belknap, James Higdon, J.J. Keeler, and Arlene Small. So everybody please join me in welcoming Dr. David Pickering.
Thank you so much for your attendance this afternoon. It has been a pleasure for me over these past few days to become acquainted with this significant and beautiful organ built by the Velti Organ Company. I have found that it has played the literature in today's program beautifully and wonderfully well, and I hope that you find some sounds and some music that inspire you and that bring you peace. The German composer Johann Sebastian Bach has left us some of the finest music for the organ. And despite spending most of his life in central Germany, the approach to music that he used was very cosmopolitan for the time, given his exposure to French, German, and Italian music as a court and church musician. I was first introduced to this piece that I just played for you, the Prelude in C major, on a recording that was made by the British organist E. Power Biggs on the organ at Adelphus Busch Hall at Harvard University. This prelude is not as famous as other Bach works that are played and deserves to be better known. It's short, as you just found out, and was written sometime before 1708 during his time in Weimar, Germany. It's composed in an instrumental idiom and harkens to the music of Vivaldi with that intense 16th note rhythmic pulse that never ceases until the end. I will now play for you another Bach work, which is a setting of the hymn tune Nun komm der Heiden Heiland, or Savior of the Nations Come, is an English translation for this. The hymn tune melody is not easily discernible. It's what we in music terms refer to as ornamented, meaning that Bach has used other notes that are around or sometimes not so close to the hymn tune melody to give it a beautiful ornamented sound and feeling, much that one would have experienced in vocal music of the time. This is from his collection that is entitled The Leipzig Chorales, and this is one of my very favorite Bach chorale preludes of all time. I hope that you enjoy Bach's setting of Nun komm der Heiden Heiland. J.J. Keeler founded the organ department at Brigham Young University in 1935 and taught there until he died in 1996. Born and raised in Utah, Keeler studied piano and organ with teachers in Utah and also supplemented his education with periods of study in Chicago, Germany, and England. I will be playing his two solo organ compositions this afternoon, both of which were composed in the 1950s. The first of these, his chorale improvisation on Let All Mortal Flesh Keep Silent, features the melody moving from hand to hand, featuring various solo stops of this beautiful organ. One statement features the melody in canon between the great flute stop, or actually the solo, beautiful 8-foot flute stop, with the swell strings. The final section features the melody in the pedal, accompanied by full chords. The work gradually decrescendos into the opening notes of the melody that are played on yet another beautiful solo flute. Keeler felt that this title, Let All Mortal Flesh Keep Silence, was such an appropriate title that he dedicated it to his 5 daughters at the time and thought that was an appropriate dedication. A Passacaglia is a musical composition that is in triple meter that is based on the Spanish dance. Keeler's Passacaglia in G minor was written in 1953 and dedicated to his close friend, George Fitzroy. Passacaglias always open with the work or with the melody being presented in the pedal alone. Each time the melody is repeated, different accompanimental material is played by the hands and even by the feet alone in one particular variation, resulting in 18 variations that demonstrate a variety of organ tone and dynamic. Some of the variations are closely related to those featured in Max Reger's Passacaglia in D minor, and Salt Lake Tabernacle organist Alexander Schreiner described the work as a corker and played it on one of his noontime recital programs at the Salt Lake Tabernacle, in addition to performing it over radio in September 1951. So I will play these two pieces without applause in between, and so here are J.J. Keeler's two compositions. I failed to mention in my introduction earlier that J.J. Keeler is my maternal grandfather, and it was my blessing to study with him for 4 years during my undergraduate degree at Brigham Young University, and I got to study these two pieces with him. So it was a wonderful experience. Belgian composer César Franck was a child prodigy at the piano and came to Paris to study at the conservatory there. He eventually became the organ professor at the conservatory and was also the organist at the Parisian church of Sainte Clotilde. I have always felt that Franck's organ music is comparable to Chopin's at the piano, since Chopin did not leave us any organ music, and both composers and reputations and their music have worn well over time. Franck is one of my favorite organ composers, and I am delighted to present, well, 1.5 or 1.25 pieces of his. The Adagio from the Fantasy in C major, which you will hear first, is just the very concluding section of the Fantasy. It features a rather unusual stop that is called the Vox Humana, and that is imitative of the human voice. After hearing it, you may decide that you are glad that that's not your human voice. I don't know. It's an acquired organistic taste, but the example here is very lovely, and I hope that you enjoy it. This Fantasy in C major features Franck in some of his most introspective moments. Pièce héroïque, or heroic piece, is one of Franck's most famous organ compositions and was composed for the organ of the Trocadero Concert Hall in 1878, for that organ's dedication. He wrote this work in the continuing tradition of Beethoven, Berlioz, and other Romantic composers. He composed this work in 3 sections. The first is dominated by a sinister, brooding theme in B minor. The second section, however, is in the parallel major key of B major. And for those of you who know your key signatures, that's 5 sharps, creating a particularly tender and thoughtful atmosphere. The opening theme returns for the final section with the B major theme concluding the work in a blaze of majesty and glory that utilize this organ's full resources. Daniel Gothrop is a name who might be known more by choral musicians than organists. His anthem, Sing Me to Heaven, is a best-selling anthem, I'm told, in the choral world. And he, luckily, also had the opportunity to study the organ in high school and at college. And thankfully, we now have some solo organ music of his. And this particular work, Symphony No. 1, O Jerusalem, was commissioned by Graceland University in the year 2002, and actually 2004, and premiered in 2005. I had the great honor of premiering this work all those years ago, and as you can tell from the titles of each of these movements and the scriptures that accompany them, they are all from the book of Isaiah, and they all deal with Jerusalem, the city in Israel. These movements are musical depictions of those scriptures and showcase a tremendous variety of rhythm, color, dynamic, you name it, it's there. I hope over the course of this recital series I've been able to demonstrate just about every stop on this organ in some capacity or the other. And you'll find in the third movement, I've even found a place for a very special stop that's not typically found on the organ. I've enjoyed performing this work literally around the world, and it is my great opportunity to premiere it, I think, for the first time in Colorado Springs. The work's about 20 minutes, and I will play each of these movements just straight through without any applause until the very end. This work has a particular significance in the fact that I think it speaks to about everybody. To the degreed musicians or those who have had a lot of musical experience, it's interesting. For those of you who may have not been to an organ recital before, I hope that you will also enjoy it. I have found that the lay people enjoy this as well. And so I hope that you are all in one of those two categories. Thank you so much for coming today. I look forward to greeting you after the recital, and thank you again for coming and spending your afternoon here.